Finds the Clark. Shot! Oh! Rebound! Score! Score the game winner!
Primo cuts into scores! There it is! Keith Primo wins this game in the 5th overtime.
To deliver quickly to Leclerc. Behind the defense. In on goal. He scores! John Leclerc, the lightning killer, has done it again. 4-0 Philadelphia.
Come on. Yeah.
Welcome to show number 2, the Philly Hockey Guys, and I know you love that laser.
Yeah, when I think Philadelphia hockey, I do think electronic dance music and lasers being shot. That's fantastic.
So, show number 2.
I'm Andy.
I'm Ken.
Special thanks to everybody on our Flyers and on Twitter that's been interacting with us. Got to give a few shout-outs real quick before we get everything started. Shout-out to our friends on Reddit Flyers, as well as administrator for Reddit Flyers, Blinson, helping out with some suggestions, as well as some other great suggestions coming in from user Golden_Jiggy, asking if it will be on iTunes. And over the weekend,
It is.
we put it on iTunes. So there you go. You can check that out there. As well as Mavadinho. Looks like he is a Flyers fan all the way in the UK. He says he likes the podcast. So
Excellent. Like to
shout
hear
out
that.
to him. Thanks a lot for tuning in. As well as people interacting with us on Twitter as well. Shout out to Mikey from orangeandblackpack.com. We might be doing some exclusive work alongside some of our friends at orangeandblackpack.com, as well as new friend of the show, FlyersNerd.com.
Good stuff there, especially all the salary cap stuff. I love that stuff.
So check that out, FlyersNerd.com. And, well, we might be doing some work with Flyers Nerd in the future as well, so be on the listen for that.
Yep, and if you want to follow us on Twitter, it is
At Philly Hockey Guy, because they would not give us an S. But we got rid of the S because the S was for
savings.
perfect. We have to tighten our belts. We do work professionally in the radio industry, and I'll tell you this much right now, kids. If you're thinking about being in radio, don't.
No.
Because you don't make any money.
No money whatsoever.
I have got a half a sandwich on my last paycheck. So here we are, episode number 2. We got a few things that we're going to talk about on this episode. So why don't we go all the way back to the beginning?
Oh, Craig Berube.
And that's where it all started. And then after a couple weeks of looking around, we got our new coach.
Introducing Dave Hakstol, head coach of the University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux. That's right, or as we like to call him here exclusively on this podcast, and I hope that nickname takes off, Hakstol Jim Duggan.
I love it.
Even though it has nothing, his name is not, it's not Jim or anything like that, but Hakstol sounds like hacksaw, so we said, why not? So Hakstol Jim Duggan, our new head coach, and let's just talk about him real quick, Ken. This guy has made an impact on NCAA. Not only that, but he's also molded current NHL superstars. And when I say superstars, I mean Stanley Cup winners like Jonathan Toews. He coached Toews in college, as well as now current Washington Capital, TJ Oshie.
It just doesn't sound right.
God damn.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad trade there. I don't know what St. Louis is doing right now, but
It's okay, though, because you know what? It's still the Capitals, so they're not going to do anything.
that's true.
Dave Hakstol Jim Duggan, new head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. He made the NCAA tournament in all 11 seasons he's coached at North Dakota. First off, that's pretty impressive in and of itself.
And in all those years, 6, 7 times in the Frozen Four?
6 times as I almost rip your headphones out.
You're getting violent in here.
We're a podcast where we're operating right now in a very tiny professional studio.
We're basically in a closet.
But we're working to grow into a bigger one, so we're kind of working out all the kinks, and we might actually wind up elbowing each other in the face at some point. But that's okay. Our injury is for your amusement. So Going back to Hakstol, he won 65.4% of his games during the regular season at UND and 69% of his games in the postseason. He played in the International Hockey League for 5 years before becoming a coach.
But the big question is, can a guy from college make the jump to the NHL?
I think that it can be done. Now, it hasn't been done a lot, as we all know, for all of our history buffs out there.
82 the last time?
Yeah, Badger Bob Johnson coming from the University of Wisconsin to coach the Calgary Flames and eventually dealing with that other team in Pennsylvania that we don't want to talk about. But we will for just 1 second. The podcast is now on iTunes. It is free, but we will accept donations. All proceeds go to buying the Pittsburgh Penguins.
And then we can bankrupt them.
I declare bankruptcy!
And
Thanks, Mario.
And watch those fans scatter like roaches again into the dark pit from where they came. So, Hakstol.
I'm excited about him. I mean, everything that we've heard from him so far, from his introductory press conference to his sit-down with Coatsy, it's all been, he's been saying the right things.
Well, let's go ahead and go right into that. Let's hear some of the things that he said from Flyers TV. He did an interview with the one, the only, the national treasure, Steve Coates. First off, Hakstol's thoughts and first impressions.
Well, the first thing that stands out to me is within the city of Philadelphia, how important the Philadelphia Flyers organization is. And number one, first and foremost, I think I want us to all know and understand and approach every day, with that importance in mind. We've got to, get off to a start with hard work, with a lot of detail. I've got a lot of work to do over the summer in order to be ready and prepared to walk into training camp this fall and begin that process.
Guy sounds like a man on a mission. He knows what he wants to do. He's going to go in, and he's going to do it with the personnel that he has in front of him, the young talent that he has in front of him, to the best of his ability.
And the
I
young
think I'm
talent
sold
that's
on
the way.
And the young talent that's on the way in the pipelines as well. Also, Dave Hakstol says, a lot.
It's become a drinking game.
I think so. So we're going to announce that right now. There's another first. The Philly hockey guys drinking game. Every time Dave Hakstol says, go ahead and take a drink. It could be of whatever you may be having.
I'm looking forward to post-game press conferences now more than ever.
Take a drink every time Hakstol says, He likes to say it a lot,
So the one thing that what we kind of touched on on the last show is what kind of coach he's actually going to be.
Right. When we were talking about the LeCavalier situation and what kind of approach he's going to bring to his game, and will also fit in with the Flyers. Let's hear what he has to say.
I think, I show up and work hard every day. That's, I love being at the rink. I love coming to the rink. I love, being in and around, our coaching staff. I love being in and around the players. And I think I've got a real clear understanding. As you go through a season, every single season, you're going to have challenges. You have ups and downs, and those are the times that you have to embrace. I think you have to love working through some of those tougher times to make sure that you get to the better spots.
The guy knows what he's talking about. And I got 7 out of him.
You'll be hammered by the time he gets done with the press conference.
They're not even going to know who he is. He's kind of got that kind of vision where he sees what he wants at the end of the tunnel, and he's going to start laying out a plan to get there.
Why don't we go back to the press conference there, go with what Hakstol, why he chose Hakstol.
I had a list of things that I wanted from a head coach. And I went down this checklist in my mind, and every box was checked except for the NHL experience. And quite frankly, for me, that was the one that's the least important. It's no different than a rookie player, rookie coach. Does Dave have things to learn? Absolutely. He'll be the first to admit it. And we've both got a lot of work to do, but he has a tireless work ethic, and I think the biggest thing is his knowledge of the game is extremely high level.
I feel extremely confident by the way that he presented that. And it's true.
Absolutely true.
People that would cause a stink about something like this, well, hockey's hockey. It will still be this game. And if this game, at the NHL level, is getting faster and more involved like it has been since the last 20, 30 years.
Well, that's the problem. It's the unknown at this point because no NHL team has done this since 1982. Everybody just kind of assumes that this is not going to work out from outside the organization. I think Flyer fans have bought in. The developmental camp that's been going on the last week, the players are buying in. And that's another thing Hakstol brought up in his press conference when introducing Hakstol, is about developing those young players.
We have a lot of young players on our team, but we've also got a number coming, so that was a factor in it for sure. How has he developed, young players? How has he integrated young players into his lineup? I think one of the strongest points that he has is his ability to push people. He pushes players. He gets the most out of his players.
I'm really interested to see what this season means for a few people. Braden Shen, Matt Reed, Sean Couturier, and let's throw Simmons in the mix too, and Raffle.
Raffle is the one is going to be the key because he's going to end up on that top line with G and Jake.
Unless if Gagne really blows people out of the water in training camp, but he's probably going to play right, so that doesn't do too much.
No. So I think the big thing is going to be, is this college coach coming in, how are the players going to respond to him, the superstars, like G, like Jake, and how are those guys going to respond to being pushed on a daily basis?
From what I've seen and somewhat have heard in some small circles, Hakstol Jim Duggan has already been in contact with some of those players, like Steve Mason, like Claude Giroux. Spoke with Voracek a bit, from what I've heard, also with Voracek's number one roommate, the one, the only Wayne Simmons, getting a feel for the players. He said when he first started up here, he says he wants to maintain a relationship and get to know each and every person.
Well, here's Hakstol on some thoughts on Giroux and Voracek.
Love the competitiveness. I think that's at the core of every great player is the competitiveness. And these guys are world-class athletes, world-class talents and abilities. And when you add that competitiveness, you add that team first, great teammate type of mentality. Now you have something special.
I got 3 no's.
You're going to be counting these down.
I've become obsessed with this.
All right, so I think it's safe to say that we're both extremely on board with this hire. And
I got to tell you, with this whole youth movement and somebody that really has a clear vision, I can't wait for the start of Flyers season. I can't wait for training camp even to start. Mm-hmm. And unrelated, but I also can't wait for the Eagles season to start up because it gives you that same kind of excitement.
Well, considering what we've gone through baseball season here in Philadelphia.
I thought we weren't supposed to talk about that.
I just said baseball season. That's all I said. I didn't mention any teams or any certain general managers.
Speaking of which, I had a Reuben sandwich over the weekend, and I was like, if I put this guy in a high-end office, he probably wouldn't have traded away Hunter Pence.
Oh, just stop now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, let's move along here, and let's get into the other big story of the offseason, and that's the NHL draft.
Yes. We talked about it briefly in episode number 1 of the podcast. Ivan Provorov, number 7 overall. Still can't believe the Devils didn't screw us, and we've got him now, and I'm looking forward to the future.
I mean, playing last year, he had 61 points in 60 games. So that's a little bit over a point a game. You got to like that.
It's really impressive. I mean, those numbers are almost, hand in hand with how Sanheim was. He was a point per game player.
What I'm excited about is actually their second pick.
Konecny.
I mean, the guy was, in some of the mock drafts, looked like he was going to go probably mid-teens.
Top 20.
Yeah. So he started to fall, and then Hakstol made the big move to get up to 24 and take him. I love it.
Yeah, even if it meant trading with the Leafs. Trading, the 27th pick, and then whatever it was in the second round. Was it in the 60s?
Yeah, it was the pick we got from for Timonen.
Thank you very much for that, Chicago.
Yes, absolutely. But my only question is with Konecny is his size. 5'10", 175. They got him as a center right now. Probably going to be more, probably projects in the NHL more as a winger, I would think.
Have you watched his reel? The way that he can move with the puck, the way that he can, deke, he reminds me almost of Giroux. The way that his hands are, they're just so fast.
Well, if he's anywhere near Giroux, oh, man, that's a steal at 24 then.
Oh, absolutely. I think even if he's not as fast as Giroux, I still find that to be a steal.
Now, the rest of the draft was kind of interesting on how the Flyers broke it down. They ended up taking 3 goalies.
Yeah, 3. And I think
shocked by that?
No, I think it's fantastic. One, because the almighty, all-knowing, all-powerful Ron Hakstol is now our GM, my favorite Flyers player of all time.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that a goaltender went
and picked goalies.
Yes.
But that's what he said. He said, goalies take a longer time to mature and to season than other players, like your Provorovs or your Konecny or somebody else like that. I mean, look how long Stolarz has been in the minors.
See, that's my question now. Have the Flyers lost faith in Stolarz?
No.
You don't think so?
No, not at all.
I mean, he had a rough year last year in the AHL.
Yeah, the guy's still a monster, though. He's still a competent goaltender.
So there we go. How do you feel about the draft overall then?
Do you want to do it on a rating scale, grade, A through F?
Yeah, let's grade it out.
I would just go with a solid A.
I knew you were going to go
Not an A plus, not an A minus, just right there, man. Just perfect, comfortable, right in that area.